Charlie. There are 100 billion people in this world, and only 5 of them will find golden tickets.
Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much to the subscribers. This video is massively prompted by the subscribers. So basically, if you're watching this, that means I put it up, which means that I've gone to 555 subscribers, 555 subscribers. That is awesome. So grateful. This is great because I do really enjoy doing this, and it's lovely the friends I've met through doing this. And it's great the way it's expanded my reading, and if I'm doing something on the channel that makes it worth watching, then obviously that keeps me doing it. So I love the effects it's had on my life. So it's lovely that people are watching it. So thank you so much for subscribing and for watching the videos. So I'll get to the point. This is a book tag that is centered around the number 5. It's the high 5 book tag, and it's basically obviously celebrating 555 subscribers. So like I did the all fours one on 444, which nobody took up, weirdly. That was a stupid tag to do, but the all fours tag happened when I got to 444, and I saw this one was coming. I saw I might be getting close to 555, so I thought it might be nice to do a tag that was all about the number 5. So such as you might get, such as you might hear from a Sesame Street episode, this video is literally brought to you by the number 5. So it's got 5 prompts, so it's a very short one, but hopefully a bit of fun and a way for you to talk about some books, but also for you to tag some people and maybe talk about yourself as well at the end. So the first prompt is: give a high 5 to 5 books that you want to rave about. So for my choices for this, the first one is it's not necessarily a rave in some ways, but I kind of want to talk about it. I've never talked about this before, and it's a funny one. So basically, I'm going to show up the Callahan's Cross Time Saloon, not Callahoon's Cross Time Salon. Callahan's Cross Time Saloon, and I'm holding this up because I was really excited, intrigued by the premise that it was a bar that was there where there's lots of flotsam and jetsam of intergalactic aliens that intermingle in this bar, and there's some sort of short stories that come from it, and it looked like a lot of fun, and I was really intrigued, and I knew there was loads of books from it. Although actually no, at the time, and I thought it was only one. So anyway, I found out about it. Then I realised it was quite expensive online, secondhand, and I didn't think I'd ever find it. But I did go for it anyway, and I bought it secondhand, and I read it. And before I read it, by the way, I found some of the other books in the series secondhand, and I think I've got all of the books in the series. Most of them are massive hardbacks with awesome covers, by the way. But anyway, I think I've got all of the books in the series, about 6 books or something. But I was actually disappointed by this book. So that's a bit weird, you know, because of finding them quite cheap. I ended up buying all of them, and then I started reading them, and they're all right. They're not bad, but they're just all right, you know. And I thought I'd really like them. I thought it'd be like really quirky and interesting. I like quirky. That's my thing, really. So the fact that it was just all right, and by the time you got to the end of the story, you were like, oh, not that happened there. And then you read another one, you go, oh, okay. And really some of its parts wasn't really making up for the, oh, is that it element. So I was a bit disappointed. I don't know if you've read these Callahan Cross Time Saloon books. I've got a second one down here actually, which I've delayed reading all of it. I've read a bit of it, but I'm going to read it. This is the same kind of edition, but I've got so these are Ace, I think, yeah, Ace books. But I've got these massive hardbacks for the rest of them. But yeah, I mean, do you have any interaction with these? That's the first one I wanted to mention anyway. So that's number 1. Second book I'm going to rave about, Harlan Ellison's The Glass Teat. This was a such an important purchase for me. I've had this for quite a number of years now, but when I bought it, it was pre-internet. No, pre-internet, I could never find it. And then the internet came along, and it was one of the first things I bought online, because I desperately wanted it. I've been looking for it, literally hunting it for years. And this is his ranting about television. So The Glass Teat. There's also another one called The Other Glass Teat. It was like a sequel book. But yeah, this is part of my Harlan Ellison collection, and I do collect everything that I find by him. And yeah, it's a must read if you're interested in him. He's obviously well known for having a very strong, opinionated personality, and it all gets dumped onto this book with his very considered thoughts about television. And then I wanted to, number 3, talk about Stephen King. So Stephen King, I'm a big fan of Stephen King, and I've read a bunch of his books. I've done one video of his already. I'm building up to do a second one at some point, which is actually taking a lot longer than I planned. So in the end, there's going to be like a 2-year gap probably between the 2 videos. That's all right. I wanted to talk about another 10 Stephen King books. This is one of them. I haven't read this yet, but this is probably going to be one I mentioned because apparently this is really good. So I've got a couple of boxes worth of Stephen King books. I've got 40 odd, and half of them I haven't read, and this is one I haven't read, but I've heard really good things about it. It's a very kinky story, so I don't know how it develops, but clearly it must develop quite well because people love it. So yeah, Gerald's Game, Stephen King. That's my 3rd book. My 4th book, which is another one I haven't read, but I thought I'd chuck it out there because it's a little reminder to me that I want to read this guy. And I know Ollie from Criminology mentioned him recently as well. It was a different book. I think it was Head Full of Ghosts, which I've also got. But anyway, Paul Tremblay, I'd been meaning to discover what I thought of him with that Head Full of Ghosts books this Halloween, and I didn't get around to it. So I really want to find out what he's like. Again, I found this book quite cheap. I bought Head Full of Ghosts new, full price, but this is pretty new condition, and I bought this for £1, I think it was. So I have got more than one book by him without having read him. So what is Paul Tremblay like? Let me know. But I am looking forward to reading his stuff. Apparently he's one of the new really good authors in the horror field. And then the last one I'm going to mention, it's quite a funny one because I've actually got 2 copies of it. I've got a hardback copy and I've got a softback copy. A paperback paperback coffee. Yeah, no thanks. I've got a cup of tea. I'm all right. I'll just have my tea. Don't worry about the paperback coffee. Sounds weird. So I've got basically 2 copies of this book, Happily Ever After by Charles Addams. So I've raved about Charles Addams now and again, and on a special video where I did a video on ghoulish, creepy, macabre illustrators. And Charles Addams is my favourite cartoonist. There, I've said it. He's my favourite cartoonist. I collect cartoonists. There's 2 rows of cartoonist books down there and a bunch of books upstairs in the loft. But this is my favourite. But weirdly, I've got a really lovely new condition hardback one that I've had for ages. And apparently, according to this, I bought it in Gosh Comics in London. In when was that? Long time ago. Gosh Comics. I bought that in Gosh Comics in London. But I think I got this one online. And I think I got this one because someone bought it for me, not knowing that I already had it, because they knew that I collected Charles Addams stuff. But again, his stuff is quite rare and quite hard to get. This is an example of one of the cartoons on it. So anyway, Charles Addams, great man. And I've got I've got the Charles Addams biography still to read. I had that for my birthday. I was so excited to get it, and I still haven't read this, which is crazy. So anyway, 5, that's my high 5 to 5 books that I own. 5 authors. High 5 to 5 authors. Right, I haven't written notes down because I thought I'd just do this off the bat, off the top of my head. So I'm reading Philip K. Dick at the moment for December. Dick the Halls. So Philip K. Dick, Ray Bradbury. I'm going to be doing a deep dive into Ray Bradbury next year. Harlan Ellison, because I mentioned him a minute ago. Claire North, because don't tell anyone, but I've just bought a Claire North book for a friend for Christmas. and Adrian Tchaikovsky, because don't tell anyone, but I just bought an Adrian Tchaikovsky book for someone for Christmas, because it's literally one of the greatest books ever written, and I thought he'd like it. So don't tell him, but I have done that. He's not going to watch this. It's fine. Don't worry. Those are the 5 authors. 3, the third prompt is 5 songs you want to give a high five to. So songs. So as you can probably imagine, well, you might not be able to imagine this, but you might be able to gather in a minute that I'm going off my channel page, books, songs and other magic. And that's where these prompts are coming from. So 5 songs that I want to give a high five to. So songs. Rain on the Scarecrow by John Mellencamp. Love that song so much. Rain on the Scarecrow, John Mellencamp. Rosanna by Toto. Absolutely love that song so much. Waiting for My Real Life to Begin by Colin Hay. Very often when I'm feeling pensive at work and before I leave for work, I'll whack it up really loud and just close my eyes and listen to that song. Absolutely love that song. Waiting for My Real Life to Begin by Colin Hay. 4th choice, Mother Stands for Comfort. One of the works of genius by Kate Bush on Hounds of Love album. It's just, if you just listen to Mother Stands for Comfort, it's such an incredible song. It was such an amazing feat in production, and you're just thinking, how does someone write that song? Absolutely amazing. And then number 5, I'm going with Out of Range by Ani DeFranco. It's the first Ani DeFranco song I ever heard, and I was immediately in love with her stuff. So there we go. So that's the 3rd prompt. 5 songs I'm giving a high five to. Okay, so 4th one, I need my notes for this. So the 4th one is bouncing off the magic part of my channel name, and that's 5 incidents in your life that are magical. So it could be something surprising, could be something memorable, even unforgettable, something that was pure magic that made life something very special, made life much more than mundane, made life very magical. So 5 things I'm going for. 2 of the 5 things are the birth of my 2 children. Kind of inevitable, a little bit predictable, but let's face it, got to do it. So the birth of my daughter Jessica in 1995. If you're watching this, hi Jess. 1995. It was a massive big deal for me becoming a parent. Huge big deal because of my history of my family. It's such a massive thing, and you know, I couldn't love her more. And then a few years later, my son's born. That was quite a hectic birth as well. And you may have gathered from videos you might have seen of the band, or you might have mentioned, you know, when I've mentioned him before. But love him to pieces. Both me and my wife have got very strong relationships with our kids, and it's fantastic. So yeah, those are the first two examples I'm using for this prompt. 3rd one is my 2nd wedding. So my 2nd wedding was a glorious day. It was an absolutely fantastic day, and it was the 2nd wedding to the same person. So my first wedding was in 1993. Sorry, the video slowed down there a little bit. It wasn't me. 1993. And then literally last year, we got married again. We renewed our vows because we wanted to make a perfect day, because it wasn't a perfect day in 93, mostly because of family. And it was an absolutely perfect day. It was a beautiful, amazing day. And that was just such a special thing. So it was nice that something so special, memorable, unforgettable happened recently. That's nice. So the 2nd wedding day to my wife Ali was a lovely thing. The 4th response to the prompt, I'm going to say the day that we arrived in Thailand. My musical partner, if you like, my mate Richie, he's the closest thing I've had to a brother, really. And we've been playing. Next year, it will be our 30th anniversary of us playing together. And back in 2007, we had a 5-week gig in Thailand, and they paid for everything. They paid for our flights, they paid for our hotel, they paid for our food and drink. It was such a magical experience. It was bizarre. You know, why is that hotel paying out that much money for two guys to play 5 weeks of gigs? But there we go. That's what happened. It was an amazing thing. And the day that we arrived, it was obviously very real. And I'm going to choose that as my fourth prompt because it was such a magical trip, and it was a gig. It was a job, but it was paradise, and we were treated like kings, and it was just phenomenal. So yeah, that's the fourth one. And then the last one is because this is kind of a recent one again, but it's brought a new creativity into my life, and it's something I've got really into, and I know I'm going to get better at it. And I've had some really nice responses anyway. But it's the publication of my first book. So the fifth response to the prompt about 5 magical things in your life. The first time I received a paperback copy of something I've self-published. So obviously it was my short story collection, 10 Tales of Transformation. And it was very special. I thought, wow, this is real. I've actually written something. And yeah, I'm very proud of it. But that's the fifth response. So hopefully anyone else that does this tag, there'll be some really special things that you can share with us. Last thing is to tag some people. So I'm going to tag these 5 people. Tag 5 people. This is all about number 5, remember? So I'm going to first tag Matt from Science Fiction Reads. This is a man that I've got to know a little bit more thanks to the New Worlds November Voxer group. So that's really cool. So Matt, if you want to do this, that'd be really cool. Crystal at Fiber Artsy. We've got like an exchange with tags, which is really awesome, and I'm always interested to know more about her life. So Crystal from Fiber Artsy, it'd be great if you could do it. Steve Donahue complains a lot about not getting tagged, and when I did my first ever original tag, I tagged him, and he hasn't done it. But let's see if he does this one. So Steve Donahue, you're tagged. Let's see what you think about this tag. And Dave and Olive from Book Blather, if those two could do this one, that'd be great, because I'd love to know what they think. And their videos are always so considered and articulate. It's cool. And then last tag, because he's the first person I go to every time I stick on YouTube and I want to see if there's a new video, and I just want to see him do the tag, is Michael K. Vaughan. So I've tagged him a few times, so apologies if I'm repeating my tags, but Michael K. Vaughan I'm using as my 5th tag. So there we are, the number 5, 555. Again, thank you so much for the subscriptions that has prompted this tag. Please keep watching. Let me know what you think of the stuff that happens. Let me know what you think of these books that I've included and the songs I included. Do you share some of that taste? If you haven't heard them, go check them out. Thanks a lot for watching. See you later. Bye.